This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming.
What's up, guys? This is VinylicPuma, and it's been a couple of months since I last made a video on Fallout 4 mods. Now, last time, I made a video on a collection of some really cool power armor mods that I found. Now, at the time, most power armor mods available for Fallout 4 mostly just consisted of power armor paint job mods. And while those are pretty cool, we do have things like the creation kit now, as well as Bethesda.net, so we've got a lot of new areas and new places to check out a lot of new mods and just discuss them. Now, a couple of things before we get into this particular video. I'm providing links mostly to the Nexus in the description, as that is where I get most of my mods. I cannot get the Bethesda.net mods to download to my PC. Maybe that's because I need to download something to get it to work, but honestly, I am fine with just using Nexus Mod Manager myself. However, that said, I will mention if a mod is both on the Nexus and Bethesda.net, if I can find it on both sites. Some mods from the last video will also make an appearance, but most of the mods that you're going to be seeing today are relatively new. So without further ado, these are what I think are the top 7 best power armor mods for Fallout 4 as of July 5th, 2016. Number 7. The Tesla X01 Power Armor mod by Captain Ultima that is both the Automatron style and the full suit style. This mod is both on the Nexus as well as Bethesda.net. So I always thought it was weird that Bethesda didn't include a set of X01 Tesla armor with the Automatron DLC and instead opted to go with a suit of T60 armor that had the Tesla coils. However, now you can download this mod, which gives the X01 armor the same properties as the T60 Tesla armor from the Automatron DLC. And what's also great about this particular mod is that it comes in 2 different versions. The first is the Automatron style version, which features the Tesla coils on both the torso as well as the armor pieces, just like the T60 armor from Automatron. There's also a second version which has Tesla coils on the full suit, where you can have them on the helmet, you can have them on the arms, torso, and leg pieces. This way it looks similar to the Tesla Remnants armor that was ultimately cut from Fallout New Vegas. Now, the only improvement is that you're using Tesla coils on the X01 power armor, and of course X01 power armor overall is typically better than your T60 armors. Now, overall, in my opinion, I think this is a nice mod that's compatible with a wide variety of paint jobs, both from in-game, its DLC, and some user-created paint jobs if you're into that. Number 6, the Midwestern Power Armor by Newermind43 and Captain Ultima. Now, as far as I can tell, this is a Nexus Mods exclusive mod. In other words, it's only on the Nexus Mods website at the current time of making this video. Now, upon first looking at this power armor, I actually kind of thought that it looked kind of bad. And really, some of the pictures don't really do the look of the armor justice. And I think a lot of that has to do with the overall very clean look of the armor. And there aren't very many scratches or wear and tear on this set of Midwestern Brotherhood of Steel power armor at all. However, once you actually install the armor and you start using it in your game, it's actually pretty impressive. And some of the faction and standard in-game paint jobs actually look a little bit better on the Midwestern armor as opposed to a lot of the vanilla game armors. For those of you that don't know, the Midwestern power armor was worn by the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout Tactics, which was a game that was released after Fallout 2 and before Fallout 3. And I really like the asymmetrical pauldrons on this armor, and the white and greenish gray with like the red eye lights is pretty sick as well. Overall, kudos to the developers of this mod. Great job. Number 5, the Commonwealth Rascal Power Armor Paint Jobs by Bernie300. Now, this was in the last episode, and it, as far as I know, is a Nexus Mods exclusive, simply because A lot of people, I think, have probably forgotten about this mod, but I think it's a great mod. Overall, I just think that Commonwealth Rascal holds up extremely well compared to many of the newer mods that are coming out for Fallout 4. And what's also great about this paint job mod is that there is a T45, T51, T60, and X01 power armor versions. And while all of them look quite good, I think the T51 and the X01 armors stand out the most for me personally. Especially on the helmet for the X01, you get to have this like teeth thing that looks pretty cool, and the pauldrons on the T51 also look really cool. Now, in terms of functionality, these don't really do anything different from your standard power armor paints that you can find throughout the game, but they do look really cool, and I also think that they look fairly lore-friendly. Hopefully, Bernie 300 will port this to console for you guys. Number 4, the T60 Gypsy Danger paint job by Don Kane, aka Kanesaurus Prime. Now, this is a Nexus Mods exclusive because, again, I think a lot of people have just forgotten about this mod as it was made like months ago. Now, this was in the last video, but this paint job is without a doubt one of the best looking power armor mods available on the Nexus, despite not being as popular as some of the other power armor mods. And even some of Don Kane's, who's the modder for this, his other work. If you're a fan of Pacific Rim, this is what ultimately inspired this particular mod. And it doesn't really do anything particularly insane, but it does improve strength by 2 points instead of just the normal 1 point that like your military power armor paint does. And I really like the look of the helmet visor on this thing, which has this yellow hexagonal pattern that just looks extremely detailed and is like super HD, if that makes sense. While it's not a really lore-friendly paint job mod per se, it's a really good-looking power armor mod in my opinion. And it also comes with its own reskin of the power armor frame so that it looks more flush with the power armor itself. Now, unfortunately, because this is an older mod, the power armor frame color isn't standalone, so you'll need to turn this mod off in order to get your power armor frames to look like normal again. Number 3, the Submersible power armor, and it was made by Edible Green 1-2 and Unoctium on the Nexus, and it appears on Bethesda.net. It was made by Sovereign Walrus. I don't know if any of these people are the same people or what, but I figured I'd include all of their names here. So as you can probably tell, this power armor is greatly influenced by the BioShock franchise of games. In fact, when I first saw pictures of this mod, I did a double take because I thought I was looking at something that was straight out of BioShock 1 or 2, as the big daddies from those games wear like a similar diving suit or armor. What it looks like they did is they kind of used the Raider power armor and then maybe like the T51 suit as like a model, and then they made their own modifications to it to make it ultimately look like something that comes straight out of BioShock. And what's also kind of interesting is when you equip this in game, it looks a lot bigger than many of the other power armor sets that are available to the player to wear. Now, it does also come with 2 helmet pieces. The first is the standard Big Daddy helmet from BioShock 1, while the second is the Big Daddy helmet that's worn by Subject Delta during the events of BioShock 2. Now, ultimately, I prefer the first of the 2, as the helmet turns properly while in use, where the latter of the 2, that Subject Delta helmet, just kind of stays in place and looks kind of weird while you have certain weapons equipped. Now, this armor isn't perfect. As you'll notice, there are some gaps in the armor, and you'll also see where certain parts where they're supposed to be normally placed on the armor, they're not placed right, but that could just be the way this armor downloaded. I don't know, but hopefully, and I've got a pretty good idea that they'll probably fix this mod in the future, as it is pretty popular. My only other complaint is that I couldn't find the location of this armor, and I had to spawn it via console commands. And hopefully, if you're one of the creators and you see this particular video, please tell people exactly where the Submersible power armor is, because your description is confusing. Number 2, the Raider Power Armor Chopshop by MadMax713. Now, as far as I can tell, this is also a Nexus Mods exclusive. I don't know if it's on Bethesda.net. I have not seen it there yet. Hopefully, MadMax will ultimately port this over because it's a great mod. Now, Raider Power Armor in general doesn't get a lot of love within Fallout 4's modding community. However, of course, Mad Max's Power Armor mod might be one of the best Raider Power Armor mods that I've seen so far for this game. So what it does is it makes Raider Power Armor have several upgrade tiers, much like your T45, T51, T60, and XO1 Power Armors, which is a big plus because it makes the armor somewhat viable, because in the vanilla game, Raider Power Armor is not that good. Now, you also get a bunch of custom Power Armor paint jobs, which include the Hot Rodder skins, as well as some custom skins for Mad Max 713, him or herself. The only real criticism I have is that some of the crafting components that are required are fairly obscure and specific. For example, you will need blood paint cans or like blow torches for some of the customizations. Now, I do see what he was trying to do here, as Raider Power Armor definitely is supposed to be like this crude looking and is supposed to be kind of like cobbled together, and it seems like you would just pick up parts out of the wasteland and you just stick them on the armor. So from like a lore perspective, it makes sense, but that said, I wish he did use like specific crafting resources or more generalized ones like oil, steel, adhesive, maybe gold, copper, etc., etc. Otherwise, though, this is a fantastic Power Armor mod, and I think you should download it if you can. And finally, number 1, and that is going to be the Enclave XO2 Power Armor that's made by Dogtooth CG and Unoctium. And good news, this is on both the Nexus as well as Bethesda.net. So it's extremely likely that you've heard of this Power Armor mod before, whether it's on this channel of mine or in many other places all over the internet. But for those of you that are unfamiliar with this mod, this is essentially the Enclave armor that's frequently seen during the events of Fallout 3, and according to the Fallout lore, is technically the Advanced Power Armor Mark II, while the XO1 armor is the Advanced Power Armor Mark I. Overall, this is a phenomenal Power Armor mod made by both Dogtooth CG and Unoctium, and these guys are currently some of the best Power Armor modders for Fallout 4. And also, they've had a lot of very popular mods for Fallout New Vegas as well, if you're curious and into that. Now, since I last made a video on the Enclave XO2 armor, they've also added this Tesla coil option, which I've got to admit looks really cool. The only criticism I have about that is that it doesn't go really well with the Squad Sigma paint. Hopefully they'll fix this in the future, although I think they will ultimately fix it in the future. Anyway, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, and as always, take care, and I'll see y'all next time.